You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey, KLRN Radio family, this is Ginny Ehrhart. Check out the Southern Sisters Radio Show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Ginny Ehrhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. I'm in Wenz world, and I love it.
Hey, baseball fans, I'm Casey Motter. Welcome to Wenz World.
Always a pleasure to have our Summer Supper segment, kicking it off with our Southern sister, Ginny Ehrhart.
Hey,
Jenny,
Joey.
welcome back. We took a trip last week to New York for our New York strip steak, pan-seared, if you will.
Wasn't that fun?
It was delicious and fun.
Eating our way across the country.
Yeah.
You know, we really are. And I'm here actually today to celebrate a holiday, because I've got three favorite holidays in the year, right? Christmas is my number one, right?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is my number two favorite. And this Saturday, today, National Chicken Wing Day.
Oh, let's celebrate.
Yeah, it's worthy of a feast is what it's worthy of. It's a true celebration. And you know what I thought I'd share with you guys today is a really simple way, kind of a shortcut way to do some really awesome crispy baked chicken wings. Most restaurants do a double process. They bake it first and then they fry it. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of mess. I got a shortcut method for you, and I'm going to tell you about it.
Sweet.
You ready?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you're going to need about 5 pounds of wings.
Okay.
That's for me. And then we'll get some for you, too.
So about how many wings is that? Just
It's
basic.
a lot.
Oh, so like 50?
Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's probably more about maybe 40,
Okay.
40 to 45, something like that. So you're going to need about 5 pounds of wings. You're going to preheat your oven to 400, and you're going to set a wire rack into a baking sheet.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I got one of those.
You really need to do 2 of them, okay, for
Right.
50 wings. And then what you're going to do is you're going to toss your 5 pounds of wings with 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, some kosher salt, and a little black pepper. You're then going to spread those wings on top of those racks. Got it?
Yeah.
You're going to bake them in the oven at 400 degrees for about 45 to 50 minutes. It takes longer than you think.
Right.
They're going to crisp up nicely. Now, in a separate bowl, here's what we're doing. We're going to make a really kind of... Everybody knows about buffalo wings.
Yeah.
Right? We all love buffalo wings.
Sure.
How about some ginger soy buffalo wings? These are to die for. What you're going to do is whisk together in a bowl 1/4 cup of honey, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 3 large garlic cloves, and about a 2-inch piece of fresh ginger that you've peeled and sliced.
Okay, so where can I find fresh ginger?
Spoken like a true man.
Well, thank you.
In the produce department at any grocery store.
They sell that there?
They're ugly-looking little naughty-looking roots is what they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not the prettiest thing, but oh my word, are they delicious. And so I'll just buy myself a little hunk of ginger root and keep it in my produce, little vegetable drawer in the refrigerator.
Is that the pink stuff on the side of the sushi plate?
It is.
Okay.
I love that stuff. You know, it's really designed to like cleanse the palate. I eat it with my sushi. I mean, I just mix it all together.
Yeah, down the hatch.
Yeah, anyway. But no, nonetheless, it is going to lend a really unique and wonderful, fresh, gingery taste to your soy concoction here for your wings. So once you have mixed all that together, you got it? You got the garlic, the ginger,
Right.
the honey, and the soy sauce. You are then going to take those wings that you've baked, and you're going to toss them into that big bowl. Cover them with that glaze. You got it? Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And then you're going to pop them back on the sheet, back into the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. That's going to make that glaze on the chicken wings get all glossy and almost caramelized. kind of sticky sweet. You know what I mean?
So about an hour for the best wings you've ever put in
that's all
your
it
mouth.
takes,
Oh,
right? Yeah. Anyway, so I'll have 5 dozen. What will you have?
I will see that and raise you one more because I'm going to head to southernsistershome.com for this recipe and so much more. Get to know Ginny there and also connect on Facebook,
Connect on Facebook, Southern Sisters with Ginny Ehrhart. Check out our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored.
Ginny, always a pleasure to have you in Wenz World.
Good to see you, Joey.
Back again for hot takes and keen insights, the one, the only, at Gwinnett Radio Griff.
What's going on? Great to be back in Wenz World.
Indeed.
Last time I was here, we were talking about that boondoggle of a mess that the Gwinnett minor league baseball team came up with, the alternatives to the new name for the new name or whatever, the options.
Yeah.
The gobblers,
sure.
the buttons, and
Gwinnett, button.
And that was like a big story for like 2 days, if that. And I haven't heard anything about it since.
Yep.
People are just like, those stink, and we don't want any of those to be the name. And it's just kind of fallen out of the news cycle, and I don't think anyone cares anymore.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. By the way, I did a bit of digging on our Independence signer.
Button Gwinnett.
Gwinnett, button.
Yeah.
For the papers and such. No dirt. I was looking for, some sort of public lynching, something he was a part of back in the day. Nothing there.
I looked him up too, and there really isn't much there about him. There's not much known about him, really. Had a very short political career.
Right.
And I did read he has, because he's such like a not well-known person, his signature is like one of the most expensive signatures in the world. It's worth a lot of money if you can find an original of his.
He's like the Honus Wagner of declaration signers.
So I guess that's something. So Gwinnett Buttons, there you go.
I think it's going to stick. I don't see any reason why Gwinnett, button isn't the guy, right?
I think that's going to be it. I guess. And he died in a duel.
Oh, that's so G, man.
So you almost should be like the Gwinnett duels. Right. I don't know.
Well, we've seen what that kind of thing, what happens with that when the Bullets change their name to the Wizards and so on and so forth.
What? We're going off.
We're going off the tangent here.
Bullets to Wizards. Oh, man.
This is a reason why we need structure. So we've created a topic wheel in Wenz World.
Oh, wow.
And so that way we can stay on track. So
new bells and whistles here.
Hey, you want to give it a spin? Give it the first spin.
Yeah. Is it how? Okay, I'll do it.
You ready?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy though. Oh yeah!
Oh, Julio Jones!
I'll talk. I like this topic. This is good.
Yeah. Apparently, for those of us who have been living under a rock for the last few days, Julio Jones.
Apparently, Julio Jones is really rich.
Yeah, man. I mean, his earring is worth more than my house.
Yes.
My trailer ain't even 100 G's, man.
So he lost the $150,000 earring in Lake Lanier.
Yes.
Now, first off, is it any shock that it happened at Lake Lanier? I mean, that's where, Metro Atlantans go to disappear. You go on a boat in Lake Lanier, the likelihood of you coming back, the chances aren't always in your favor there. I mean, people disappear in Lake Lanier all the time. So, of course, a little earring is going to disappear.
Who knows? Maybe they'll find the bodies of people that have been missing.
They probably will.
Closed cases.
Yeah, there's like whole cities and towns down there. Who knows what's going on? Yeah.
The Gungan village will be rediscovered again.
And this guy, Julio Jones, a $150,000 earring, I imagine, is pretty large.
Yeah, it's gotta
Still,
be.
though, it's an earring.
Sure.
So in a body of water, it's pretty small.
It would have to be smaller than one's ear.
Right.
Right.
And this guy has the audacity to think that he can just go hire a dive team, which I'm sure that ain't cheap. Mm-hmm. And he hired this dive team to go out into Lake Lanier to try to find this little earring.
Sure, and so,
they have problems finding bodies in Lake Lanier. They're going to find an earring?
Something tells me, though, and look, we all have a dual nature, right? The age-old proverbial saying of the devil on the shoulder and the angel on the other, right? So the little devil on the Wenz's shoulder here is saying, if you're a member of this dive team, and you're already getting paid to dive in the murky waters of Lake Lanier, risk your life, not contract some sort of intestinal eating virus, bacterial infection, why would you give the earring back if you found it?
I didn't even think of that.
Like,
that's
you're
a
getting
genius
paid.
point. You could easily pocket it.
Hey, man, sorry. Hey,
couldn't find it.
Hey, Julio, sorry, I couldn't find your ring, your earring, bro. Best of luck this year. By the way, you got any free tickets to the new dome whose roof doesn't close or what?
Right. That's a great point. That could have happened. Like
Right.
That's like a good theory. That really may have happened yesterday when they were searching for it.
Although
They could have just pocketed it and no one would have ever known.
well, except for, I mean, how are you going to sell the thing? I mean, you're obviously not going to wear it.
You drive to a pawn shop in Alabama or
That's
somewhere,
true.
Tennessee, no one will know.
And maybe there's probably some.
Is there a lookout for it?
probably an MO out
I mean,
there.
if he hired a dive team, sure enough, he also put a,
But I was trying to Google like how much would it cost to hire a dive team, and I couldn't get any conclusive data on
Dude, I'm
that.
thinking at least you have at least 4 guys, I assume,
Sure.
right? I saw pictures. It looked like at least 4 guys. So let's say 4 guys. I'd say they have to get at least $50 an hour, 50,
Right.
at least. So you're looking at $200 an hour.
Plus a flat fee to even come out there.
Okay.
I mean, they're not going to
$500
for free. Sure, $500.
I mean, so right there, so $200 an hour basically.
Right.
How long did they search? Say anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. Like
Right.
thousands and thousands of dollars just to.
And I feel like
He's not finding it.
with this story, the lead is buried. The lead in my mind is, why the hell are you wearing any jewelry? I don't even wear my wedding band when I'm on a lake.
a good
Because
point, yeah.
it falls off. And once it's in a lake, it's not like a pool where you can go to the bottom and pick it up.
A finite amount of space. That, yeah, right.
Right.
A lake is, you're done.
And the sea life that lives in there, the lake life, hashtag lake life,
Lake-
salt life,
Salt
all that
life,
nonsense.
right.
You know, we don't live close to an ocean. So whenever I see a truck or a car with the salt life nonsense on the back, I'm like, you are such a poser.
Yeah,
Stop.
I can't deal with that.
Just stop.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't wear like sunglasses in the ocean or something. You know, even cheap sunglasses from Target.
Right,
I'm not
right.
wearing it. So let alone $150,000 a year. Whatever.
That's, and this is one of those instances where, I almost want to say you had it coming, Julio.
He did, but also it shows. I mean, he's a multimillionaire,
Right.
And $150,000 really, in the grand scheme, when you look at it on paper, shouldn't seem like a lot to him. But it proves that $150,000 is still $150,000, no matter how many millions of dollars you have.
Yeah.
It falls in there. You still want to hire a dive team to find it. Yeah, that's something, man.
Well, here's the thing also about the Atlanta Falcons. Radio Griff here has some inside intel about the happenings at the new Mercedes-Benz Dome. Apparently, the sunroof on the Mercedes-Benz Dome doesn't actually work.
Right. They're going to have to. They've come out this week and said they're going to open the season with the roof closed. It's supposed to be retractable, like you said. Go open and close, open
Right.
and close. It's supposed to be like this really cool design thing that looks all like a nest or something. I don't know. It looks pretty cool in the renderings they do. But there's all kinds of issues with it, and they're going to have to start with. They're going to have to manually close it and keep it closed. Now, I've heard, this is a rumor out there, that, well, first off, the rumor is they are still, even though they've already taken a good amount of seats out of the Georgia Dome, they are still preparing the Georgia Dome as a backup just in case, especially for
I love it.
For these preseason Falcons games. And there's a big college football kickoff happening Labor Day weekend.
That's right.
Georgia Tech plays Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think Alabama and is it Florida State playing?
I have no idea.
There's 2 big SEC
Sure.
games or something going on.
Right.
And they've told those schools, be prepared to you might have to play the Georgia Dome. That's the rumor out there. I can't get, that's what I've heard. I've also heard that the roof was designed using the metric system, whereas the stadium was designed using our U.S. system of
How
measurement.
about that?
So therefore, that's why they're having such an issue with things matching up, opening and closing.
Well, you wouldn't think that they'd have any issues. I mean, they've handled the immigrant and refugee crisis so well over in Europe. See how well it's worked out. They don't have these freaking terrorists running around killing their people, raping their women, and stealing their kids. Yeah, you'd think they got it all right here. I
Right.
mean, obviously, again, America wins. Thank you.
I know. I do think, though, I don't think there'll be any games in the Georgia Dome. They can't. That would be a PR disaster if that happened. I think Kasim Reed will pay off whoever, between him and Arthur Blank, they'll get it done where even if the roof's closed, they're going to play at the new stadium, Mercedes-Benz, for these first few games. Yeah, but man, this, like, you look at SunTrust Park, yeah, they took lots of tax money, whatever.
Right.
But the thing was done on time. and it's pretty nice.
This is a cold sore on the lip of Atlanta. This was supposed to be the thing, right? You had SunTrust Park, and baseball is the redheaded stepchild of any real sport, right? Because when football season comes around, people
especially
just forget
here
about
in
it.
Georgia,
right?
Yeah, right.
If it's not the NCAA, it's pro, and the Falcons were so hot last year.
Falcons are best team in football all year,
right? Until something happened,
right?
The old 28-3 debacle. But yeah, man, this is such a terrible thing with all this press and we got $4 hot dogs, but we don't have a roof that closes.
Hey, you also have a lot of empty seats there, right? That's a whole other thing we can get on another week. But like they're going with it's season ticket holders only in seats, and a lot of them there's still seats for sale, but you have to buy the PSL for like $500 at minimum, let alone to be able to then buy your tickets on top of that. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know, man. Unfortunately, like there should be excitement about the team because they might be a better team on paper this year. Like this is still a good football team. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They were minutes away from winning the first Super Bowl championship for Atlanta. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about empty seats possibly because the PSLs are so high. We're talking about a roof that doesn't close. We should be talking about brand new stadium, incredible football team. This is our year. This is going to be awesome.
Here's a PSA on PSLs. It's not worth it. Just watch from home. Let all these other morons make the mistake of going down there and spending their hard-earned money.
There is no... Unless you're given tickets for free, there's no reason to go to a football game in person.
No.
The TV product is incredible.
Yes,
and I can sit there and watch Red Zone,
and
I see all the games.
Right.
And I see all the good parts of all the games.
Right.
So, going to a football game is extremely overrated.
Not to mention, when you're at home, you can actually trust the toilet seat you sit on.
That's true. I don't sit on toilet seats outside my own house.
No, you got to squat, and it depends on if you did legs that day or if it's hot, you start sweating. It's just a bad thing. All right, let's hit the wheel again here.
Come on, big money, big money, big money.
Let's see, Hawks, Philadelphia Soul, Trump. No! Braves, Dansby Swanson.
Oh, Dansby.
Now, Griffin here is our resident Braves fan. I'm a Phillies fan, sad to say, but you follow this team religiously.
I do. I have season tickets, a lifelong fan, big Braves fan. And this week, they finally sent Dansby Swanson, the star player, the star shortstop, the future, the next coming of...
The next Ty Cobb.
Right, the next coming of Chipper to be the superstar of the Atlanta Braves, shortstop. They sent him down to AAA Gwinnett. Gwinnett Buttons. He's now a Button.
He's going to end up in Lake Lanier, where people go to die, disappear. I mean, here's the thing. All right, I'm just going to vent a little bit because, I'm a Philly guy, so I'm already disgruntled, and I'm going to be unfair. So this is a hot take.
Okay.
But if this dude's name was Bob Smith, and he was as ugly as I am, there's no way he would have all this hype. Already have a bobblehead given away earlier this month.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of nonsense, ticket-selling propaganda.
I think you have a great point there. His name is Dansby Swanson. I mean, that sounds like a baseball player. He's got these beautiful long locks.
Or a porn star. One of the two.
One of the two. He's a good-looking guy. He's a local boy. He even played college up the road at Vandy. People love this guy. He's a shortstop, which is like, a high-profile position in baseball. I think you're dead on with that. If this was any other guy, some guy from the Dominican whose name we couldn't pronounce even, or if it was just some random white dude, named Bob Smith, there would be no hype like this. And what I did today, I collect the bobbleheads. I have bobbleheads here at the radio station.
You do.
And
you have one of my radio hero, Larry WACHS.
Both of our heroes, yeah. I mean, he's the GOAT when it comes to Atlanta radio.
He is the GOAT.
I mean, the greatest. But I had my Dansby Swanson bobblehead up there next to Larry, up there next to Chipper, up there next to, Freddie Freeman.
I got to ask a question now. At Radio Griff, there's going to be some movement on Bobblehead Row, is there not? I
took Dansby Swanson. I moved him down to the bottom shelf.
Oh, with who? With who?
No one's there. He's by himself. He got demoted. I only have superstars and professionals and Hall of Famers on the top shelf. That's where Larry WACHS belongs. That's where Skip and Pete belong. Legendary Braves announcers. That's where Chipper, Freddie Freeman, Andrew Jones, David Justice, who hit the game-winning home run in the World Series in Game 6 in '95.
Wow.
That's where those guys belong. Dansby, I prematurely put you up there.
Yeah.
So I had to bring him down, just like the Braves did. I had to bring him back down. Is Dansby Swanson, I'm worried he's going to be a bust.
I don't think there's any reason not to worry.
Maybe he's a AAA baseball player.
Maybe.
Because he kills it in the minors.
Right.
That's why they brought him up so fast. He just destroys it. He looks incredible compared to all the other guys.
Yeah, you look at somebody like Matt Whistler, who was a starter last year for the Braves.
Yeah.
And now he's struggling at AAA.
Yeah. Man, it'd be a shame. They put so much marketing, like from a marketing money standpoint, they put so much behind Dansby.
Right.
He was, it's Freddie and Dansby. That's the Braves. That's going to be the face of the Braves for the next 10 years.
He's already peaked.
And he may have already peaked.
He's got the Ryan Howard syndrome. He's already peaked. He's on the fall.
The guy barely can bat over the Mendoza line, and, he's making error after error. Yeah, not good. I'm worried. I'm very concerned.
Right. All right, so we're up against it. But next week, I don't know about you, but I have 3 crazy predictions for the upcoming NFL season.
I have a lot of crazy predictions about it. It's football season. They reported this week.
That's right.
Teams are back. It's go time.
It is go time. And I also want to do our way too soon predictions for division winners, conference.
Hey, can I give you a preview?
Oh, please do.
Little sneak peek?
Yeah.
Falcons won't make the playoffs.
Whoa! Somebody just
Where's
drove
the
off
bell?
the road. The bell of truth has been rung. All right, so we'll pick that up next week.
Yeah.
Falcons not going to make the playoffs.
You heard it here first.
And I have something really important to say about Tom Brady.
Oh no.
So this is going to happen. I feel it in my bones.
You love him?
Of course I do. It's the best possible outcome that took place back in February for everybody, for America. Damn it!
Oh wow.
Make America great again.
Yeah,
we're doing it. MAGA, baby. Wenz World continues right after I finish this last set of squats.
Geez, look at the butt on that. Yeah, he must work out.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Hey, y'all, in case you missed it earlier, this is Ginny Ehrhart with Southern Sisters. Joey and I were talking earlier about celebrating National Chicken Wing Day with my special soy ginger chicken wings. If you missed it, no sweat. You want any of these recipes, all you need to do is go to our website. Catch us at southernsistershome.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook at Southern Sisters with Ginny Ehrhart. I'm in Wenz World, and I'm loving it.
My friends, usually at this point in the show, we are beginning the male soap opera moment featuring the one and only Vince Bucci. Welcome back to Wenz World, Booch.
Thanks, Joe. I'm glad to be here.
So Wednesday, I'm on my lunch break, and I tuned into the brand new Regular Guys show, 5.0 on 106.3 and 1230.
Yes.
And I heard my radio hero, Larry WACHS, mention the Booch.
Yes. There was an interesting situation. Larry basically called me up and he asked me to call in at 4 o'clock because he had something he wanted to discuss with me. And it's always interesting when Larry wants to discuss with me. So I'm like, all right, I'm in. I got a little bit of time before I gotta go to work. And then as I'm calling in, all of a sudden I'm hearing clips from the Boochcast and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden I heard something about me demanding money or something, and I got very, very confused because I'm thinking to myself, I don't recall demanding anything.
Well, where would he have gotten this notion from?
Basically, here's what happened. This past Monday on Facebook Live, I made the announcement that Larry was going to be returning to the Regular Guys show. And it was going to be on at 2 p.m. and that everybody could tune in and check it out. He was doing the show with a brand new cast.
Yeah, great cast, by the way.
It is a great cast. And I also announced that Larry had invited me to come back and be the director of fighting, where I come in a couple days a week and I do a fighting report. Basically, I get to talk wrestling on another radio show, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wrestling, boxing, MMA. And he also sent me to cover the CNN protest that happened over the weekend, where they were doing the whole fake news protest thing, telling CNN to stop with the fake news.
Sure.
So I gathered some audio from that, and I was coming in Monday to talk about it and everything, and I was making this big announcement. And of course, when I announced that I was returning to the Regular Guys show, I got a lot of messages from multiple people. Everybody's saying, congratulations, Booch. I'm so glad you're coming back. This is going to be great. I can't wait to tune in. This is going to be awesome. But then within my circle of friends and family and a few other people, the number one question that everyone was asking me, are you going to get paid? Because as most people know, the last time on the Regular Guys show, I was an intern.
Right.
I was part of the special needs interns. I was then the head of the interns. So during that time, I didn't get paid.
But you did get paid in a manner of being put up on a pedestal and honored and such.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I got my own segments, and every now and then I would get, certain fees for certain things that I did. Like the pregnant bikini pageant. Larry said I did such a great job. He made sure I got something for that. And when I did the stripper wrestling at the Gold Rush, I got paid for that as well. And sometimes when WWE came to town, the promotions guys would give me tickets. So I did get compensation in some areas.
Right.
I just didn't have a regular salary, which at the time I wasn't really that, worried about, because I knew I was at intern status. I felt, you know what? I'll pay my dues down the road and I'll earn this.
Yeah, interns are the peons that get peed on.
Exactly. So at the time, I was fine with that. So eventually, I had a talk with Larry before he went back on the air. We went out to breakfast, and he was asking me to come back to the show. He told me the whole director of fighting, laid it all on the table, told me exactly what he wanted to do. And I said, this is great. I love the idea. I liked what I heard. And he flat out said to me, if you have any questions, now's the time to share it with me. And I said, okay. And I asked him, would I be getting paid this time around, or if it would lead to a paid gig down the road? And Larry's exact words to me were, well, I can't say yes and I can't say no. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a maybe.
Exactly. So it sounded like a maybe. So I felt, okay, obviously I'm not going to get paid right out of the gate, but that's fine. Because in my mind, I felt, you know what? I'll still take this gig because I wanted to get back on the air.
Right.
Again, I love working with Larry. I have all the respect in the world for Larry and what he does. And I said, you know what? I'll use this as an opportunity to prove myself. And that was my mindset, Let me take this fighting report and let me make it great.
Right.
Let me take this opportunity, because that's always what I did with the Regular Guys show. Whenever Larry or somebody on the show had an assignment for me to do, I would always take it, make it my own, and show everybody.
Yeah, make assignments great again.
Exactly. Make assignments great again. Make wrestling credible again on the radio, which is another big thing that I love to do. And then down the road, whether it be months from now, a year from now or so, maybe eventually if the fighting report takes off, I can come back and go, maybe make an offer or maybe make a deal or something. The only thing I have to my name right now at this time is 3 things: the Boochcast, this male soap opera moment, and Adult Swim Daytime Fighting League. So I probably could have used those things for leverage, but Larry and I, this is not just a business thing. Larry's like my mentor, and he's also my friend. So I would never make a demand to a friend of mine.
Right.
And Larry even said on the air, I could have came to him and asked him, and I already had. So Larry and I had already squashed the paid issue amongst ourselves.
But you can kind of understand where he's coming from in light of the way that these responses were posed on your Boochcast.
Yes, I can see in hindsight where he would think that. And when he asked me to call into the show, and like I said, I went on the Boochcast and I addressed it. I wanted my fans to know that while I'm not getting paid, this is still a great opportunity and no one should be mad about it. Because a lot of them were upset that I wasn't getting paid. They felt in their minds that I was being taken advantage of or I was being disrespected. And I was trying to reassure them that that is not the case.
Sure, because you're a grown man. You can make your own choices.
Absolutely.
You want to work for free, work for free.
Exactly. And like I said, I saw it as an opportunity to prove myself. So when Larry called me up and said he wanted to address this, I said, okay. I figured I'll go on there and I'll clear up this whole misunderstanding.
Right. And so this is swirling through your mind while you're on hold. Your palms are probably sweating. God, what's he going to ask me? Is he going to offer me money? All this. So while all that was going on your end, I heard your name. So I immediately texted you and
Yes.
I said, Booch, tell Larry that I pay you to do the male soap opera moment, to use it as leverage, because I knew you have to come to this table with leverage, but you didn't.
Well,
why didn't you do that, Booch?
Because I was not expecting there to be a negotiation on the air, so I was not prepared for that. See, my mindset was, Larry thinks I'm demanding something. He's going to confront me with it, as most people would if you hear a story about something. He'll confront me and say, hey, I'm here. I understand that you're trying to demand money from me. Is this true? And I can call in and go, no, I was not making any demands. I can explain everything, clear it all up, and I'll wash this under the bridge.
And it came to a head pretty quickly, and Larry just, straight up asked you.
All right, Vinny, let's negotiate. How much money do you want for your role as director of fighting? How much? I'm David Dickey. Go ahead.
Okay, to that, your response was?
I was freaking out because they said, what kind of money? And I'm trying to think to myself, how high or how low do I want to go? Because I'm like, look, I know my position in radio. I'm not delusional, okay? I'm not at a Larry level. I'm not at a Howard Stern level. I'm not going to ask for big bucks. So I thought, what can I look for right out of the gate? And I read that the starting salary was like 20-something thousand a year. That's a standard entry-level salary. So I went with that because I panicked. Because like I said, I was not planning to do any negotiating. I was not planning to ask any money, and I was not making any demands. In that moment, Larry just wanted to... He felt in that moment that he wanted to negotiate or he wanted to make something happen, and he kind of put me on the spot. So I just threw out whatever number popped, and that was the first number that popped into my head. So I just threw it out there out of panic.
Right.
And yeah, because this was not like a negotiation where we're like sitting down and having a discussion. I felt like my back was against the wall because I'm still trying to clear my name, but it felt like Larry just wanted to. I guess Larry was still hurt by the whole thing and just wanted to make a point. And I was like, okay. I like I said, I had no idea what was going on. I just froze.
So you threw out $20,000 for a weekly or twice a week appearance on the Regular Guys 5.0.
Yes, that was just the first thing that popped into my head.
So Booch, I did the math. I crunched the numbers. If you were to go on Regular Guys 5.0 weekly, 52 weeks a year, $480.76 per appearance. In hindsight,
that's a bad idea.
Right.
I can see why Larry would say no to that. Hell, I would say no to that. But the thing about this is the thing that I really need to make clear. If no one understands anything else from this whole ordeal, it's this. The concept of getting paid, to me, is not just about, I want money.
If all you wanted was money, you wouldn't be a part of the male soap opera moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you came in here and demanded, I would say, I'm not in position to pay you. I'm sorry you feel that way. No hard feelings, but you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
And we can part ways.
Exactly.
Right.
And we would. And we would have.
Exactly.
And I think we would have still been on good terms if I had to make that call.
I wouldn't block you or unfriend you or anything foolish like that.
Exactly.
That's petty.
But the thing is, to me, the only concept of money to me is about the fact that I also want to build a career.
Right.
I got bit by the radio bug working with Larry on the old Regular Guy show. I never once thought about radio as a career. Yes, I had a podcast, but I didn't really think about a career in radio until I met Larry. I was just a stand-up, and that was all I cared about during that time. This is back in 2010.
Right.
My mindset was I wanted to be a stand-up, and I wanted to go, and I wanted to be at the level of stand-up comedians that you see today. That was my only mindset. Then I worked in radio, and I saw the environment. I saw the talent that you have to have, and I honed my skills while on that show, and it made me love radio. So that was my thought process. So the money thing for me is wanting to devote more time. If I could do comedy, if I could do the Regular Guys, if I could do the male soap opera moment, and I got a decent fair salary here and there, and I could pay my bills with it, I'm living the life. I'm happy. I'm in the perfect place. That's ultimately the goal I want to make. I want to be able to build a real solid career and not have to be financially dependent on a world of retail. And that's really what it is to me.
In addition to monetary gain, there are also life lessons. And you were talking about getting bit by the radio bug. I think you got bit by the reality bug there, Booch.
Nonetheless, the answer is no. So you see what happened there?
Yeah.
What happened there?
I made an offer and got turned down.
You lost your leverage. You forfeited all your leverage. It's called leverage. What's going to make me want to pay you? You going to quit? What are you going to do? What's your answer to no? There is no answer.
No, because quitting was never a thought that popped into my head.
Well, it should. I mean, you got to have leverage somehow. What are you going to do? How are you going to get money if you have no leverage?
Great question.
Yeah, that situation was not something I was expecting. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I was not making any demands. I was just addressing a concern that some of my fans and listeners have. Now, Larry said that that's probably not something I should do on the air, and it's nobody's business.
But it's your show. You can say whatever you want to say on your show, Booch.
Exactly. And I can understand on that level where Larry's coming from. Was it a professional thing to do? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. And in hindsight, I can see that now where Larry's coming from with that. But the point I was trying to make was there was no demand. That's why I didn't say it on the regular guys show, because I didn't think it would be a professional place to talk about that on the air. So I did it on the Boochcast, which is my own show, which is on the internet. I'm on my show where I can say whatever I want on my own time. So I will address this to my fans and listeners. I was just addressing a concern, and I wanted to put it to bed. Larry misinterpreted it, and that's why we got this show and me thrown in a situation where I had no idea what was going on, and just I was more scared and freaked out because I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm still trying to process what just happened.
You got blindsided. It's almost like left tackle Bob Whitfield.
Yeah.
It was blocking for his QB, Larry WACHS, and you're rushing off the edge, and you just got pancaked.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're still on your back. You're reeling. Then you got stung by the reality bug. And it's welting up right now. You lost sleep last night. You woke up in cold sweats with what little sleep you did achieve.
I was having anxiety for the last few days. That really was just like a freak out moment for me.
Right, because you thought maybe, hey, I'm going to lose my spot on TRG.
Yeah, because when he said you're going to quit, and I'm like, no, I was not going to quit. That's why I said quitting never entered my mind, because again, I was not making any demands.
But don't you see how that could have been beneficial for you to say, well, if I don't get something, I'm not coming in on Friday?
I don't know. I guess then I wouldn't have came in on Friday, and I'd be back to where I was. I wasn't trying to quit.
So here's the end of the phone call.
But seriously, Vinny, listen, you learned a good lesson here. This is good. This is a good thing.
You GM'd him.
Right. I showed you what life, how it really works. You don't get on a podcast and demand to be paid. Then it's like, why would you got to give people a reason to pay you. You got the zonk. All right. Well, good lesson learned, Vinny.
Absolutely.
But he's coming back.
Yeah. You're going to be here on Friday, right?
Absolutely. I'll be there with the fighting report.
All right. Excellent. Vinny, that's what I like to hear. That's what David Dickey likes to hear. And thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'm glad I could.
All right. Vinny Bucci, well, we ran out of time. I just couldn't. No time for speech.
It's okay. The peons get peed on.
Yeah. Vinny Bucci, a valuable member of the Regular Guys show and the director of Fighting and Conflict. We'll talk to him more on Friday. And maybe he learned a little bit about negotiating a salary. And I think a lot of listeners can benefit from hearing Vinny fail.
That was a good give and take.
Yeah, you don't learn by succeeding. You learn by failing. You can't succeed until you fail.
If anyone needed a negotiation point, that was a good lesson on negotiating right
Leverage. Like your agent went to Arthur Blank and said, well, if you don't pay Bob what he wants, he's going to go to another team. And Arthur Blank ponies up the dough. Vinny, with no leverage, said, I just want to get money. Or else what? Or else I won't quit. Well, that's not how you get money.
Yep, no leverage. But he's still our guy.
I hope he's not listening. I didn't want to tell him that promising to show up Friday for no money is no way to get money either. But he'll learn. He's under my tutelage. He's my protege.
It stings, but he's right. He's absolutely 100% dead on accurate.
He is. And that, like I said, that whole thing just came at me like a whirlwind.
Folks, I know radio is for your ears, but if your eyes could see the look on Bucci's face right now, it's like a deer in headlights. The poor guy. I think you're safe. I don't think you're going anywhere. I know you're not going anywhere here unless you demanded something like you did with Larry, but I just think that this is a great lesson, and he's right. So here's the point, Booch. Everybody replays conversations in their head where they think, man, I could have just said it this way or done it that way. Today's your lucky day, Booch, because we're going to replay the question that got all of this started. It's your chance to answer it the way that you feel you should have answered it. So without further ado.
All right. Vinny, let's negotiate. How much money do you want for your role as director of fighting? How much? I'm David Dickey. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Booch.
I'm legit scared of this right now.
Don't be scared, but just be honest with Larry. He cares about you. You care about him. No hard feelings. Just be straight up. What do you think you deserve? You got to drive there, gas, car maintenance, preparation time, research, development. What's your time worth?
$100 a month.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to pay you $100, but Larry might. I mean, the Dickey brothers have money.
Yeah.
The Wenzler brothers have no money. So there's that. That's what you would say. If you could go back in time, you would have answered $100 a month, $1,200 a year.
Yeah.
Which is a fraction of what you asked for initially.
Yes. Not knowing the math. initially is what I was trying to say. I wasn't factoring all that in. I just went with a number because...
So all of this was about mathematics.
Yes. And like I said, and not really being prepared for a negotiation because that's not what I was... I didn't know that when I called into the show, I was going to be placed in a position where I was going to be negotiating money or terms. I just thought I was going to clear up a misunderstanding and then got hit with a curveball. So I would probably go with $100 a month just because I'm starting out. And then maybe in a year, if the fighting report does really well, then I might ask for more.
Maybe you could get a part-time position.
Yeah, a part-time position or something like that. Yeah, I would, but I know that in order to do that, not only do you have to have leverage, but you also got to earn it. And I'm willing to earn it.
So how long do you think you should work for free before you feel entitled to be a part-time employee of Larry's?
I'll give myself 6 months to a year.
That's a big jump. That's a 6-month difference.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, give myself a time window because I want to give the fighting report time to develop. So I'd rather prove that I can deliver. That way I can ask for the money and they can go, okay, I guess that makes sense. But if you got nothing to give, like Larry said, if you got nothing to give, then you're not going to get any money.
Right.
Which is why I wasn't making any demands. But everybody seems to think that I am. And that's really the only part that frustrates me.
I think you're lowballing yourself, man. I think you're afraid to ask for what you want because you're afraid to lose. But you're never going to win unless you just go for it. This is my idea. You should go to Larry and say, I thought it over and you are right. $20,000 is an outlandish number that doesn't make sense right now. But I feel as if $100 is a fair shake. What do you think about that?
I guess I can give it a shot. I mean, I got nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose. Well, I mean, you do. He could say, just don't come back and lose my number. But I don't think he's going to do that. And if he does do that, you always have a home here in Wenz World.
Yes, I do.
I know it's not as great as the regular guys. I admit that. Still, the Motel 6 to their Grand Hyatt.
Yes.
So do you feel better? True. Do you feel like you got some stuff off your chest in a safe environment where nobody's going to hurt you? Nobody's going to say anything? Well, they might, but right now you're good.
Yeah.
Larry's going to probably hear this, and maybe it'll help him to reconsider.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Ginny Ehrhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Ginny Ehrhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. I'm in Wenz World, and I love it.
This is Wenz World, and it's Weird Science Time.
Yep, it is Weird Science Time. And folks, we bring the experts from our good friends out there in California. Reasons to Believe, found online, reasons.org. Dr. Fazale Rana, also known as Dr. Fuzz here in Wenz World. Welcome back to the show, Fuzz. How are you?
Joey, it's great to be with you again.
Absolutely. This week we're talking about something, one of the most underappreciated parts of the human body. The big toe. And in fact, a 3,000-year-old big toe prosthesis was discovered as of late. Where did this discovery come from, Dr. Fuzz?
Well, this discovery was made in what are known as the Theban tombs. These are part of a gigantic ancient necropolis located outside of Luxor, Egypt, and was part of the ancient city of Thebes. And right now, archaeologists have cataloged about 415 of these tombs, and it's a very important archaeological site that's really complex, where there are tombs on top of tombs, and tombs have been remodeled multiple times. But this whole necropolis spans about 1,000 years, from 2000 BC to about 1000 BC, and it was in one of these tombs that this big toe prosthetic device was discovered.
And, we were talking a little bit before we hit the record button on this interview, and you went into a little bit about how important the big toe is for everyday functions for human beings. Go into a little bit about how we've kind of been underestimating the power of the big toe.
Well, it's kind of weird when you think about it.
Yeah.
Of all things that you can make a prosthetic device for, why on earth would it be a big toe?
Sure.
But it turns out that when you compare like the human foot to the foot of a chimpanzee, our foot is really very different. We have a very large heel. We have an arch in our foot. And our toes are smaller than the toes on the foot of a chimpanzee. And our big toe is not opposable, but it's oriented in the same direction as our other toes, and it's much larger. And it turns out that if you don't have a big toe that's designed that way, it's very hard to stand in one spot stably, so it's important for what's called static balance, but you can't run or walk either, because when we, for example, walk, we're shifting the weight of our body forward, and our foot has to absorb and distribute that weight. And so when you walk, you make a heel strike where the heel is the first part of your foot that's absorbing that weight, but it transfers along the outer part of your foot across the ball of your feet, or ball of your foot, to your big toe, which makes contact with the ground. And when you're running, the part of your foot that hits the ground first is the big toe, is the front of your foot, including the big toe, which again has to make contact with the ground. So if it wasn't for our big toe, we wouldn't be able to stand, walk, or run. And so it makes a lot of sense that somebody would make a prosthesis of a big toe, because it's probably more than just simply cosmetic. It probably had some kind of function.
Right. And since it's 3,000 years old, what would they have made that prosthetic out of?
Well, it looks like it's made out of wood, and then also leather that was used to kind of strap the toe onto the foot. But one of the things that's really interesting is that it looks as if there was an artisan that made that prosthesis. The toe looks natural, but it looks like this artisan went in and several times worked and reworked that toe for comfort and for fit. So it's not just simply, again, a cosmetic thing. It probably had functional importance for the woman who owned that prosthesis.
Is this something that was probably accessible to everybody, or just the super rich at the time, do you think?
Well, I mean, the tombs that this was found in belonged to the daughter of a priest. And so by definition, in that time in Egypt, they would have been very wealthy. So this was not something that was widely available. It must have belonged to a very rich person. And the fact that you had this artisan, again, that made this prosthesis and kept working and reworking it, it seems as if that artisan really understood human anatomy and physiology. And so it probably was something that only a select few people would have had access to.
Talking to Dr. Fazale Rana about big toes. I know you're probably like, what? Why is this weird science? Well, it's weird because they just uncovered a 3,000-year-old big toe prosthetic in a tomb in Egypt that belonged to a daughter of a priest. Now, what kind of religion do you think this priest was serving under, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, he would have been a part of the religious system that would have been found in ancient Egypt. But the fact of the matter is these people would have had some sense of an afterlife.
Right.
And they buried themselves with all of their worldly possessions because they thought that when they crossed over into the next realm, they would need all of those things. And so these tombs are actually a boon for helping us understand what it was like to live in ancient Egypt, at least for some people, because all of these things would have been buried with them in the tombs, and so we get a window into what life was like. And, you know, it's interesting because this prosthesis is the oldest prosthetic device that's ever been discovered. Wow. And apparently the Egyptians were pioneers in developing prosthetic devices. And so, you know, this is really a very important archaeological find on many, many different fronts. But it is kind of weird to think of somebody walking around with a wooden toe strapped to their foot.
What other things as of late have they discovered that has really rocked scientists and people that just love history and what we can learn from it?
Well, you know, one of the things that I think is interesting is that even though this is the oldest prosthetic device, there's actually mention of the use of prosthetic devices in ancient Grecian and Roman literature. And in fact, the oldest mention of a prosthetic device goes back to somewhere between 1500 and 2000 BC, and it's actually found in the Rigveda, which is like a collection of ancient Indian sacred texts. And so even though this is the oldest prosthetic device that we've discovered, there probably were people using prosthetic devices even earlier than this. We just haven't been able to discover any evidence for that.
Just thinking about this woman who wore this thing, it would really suck if she walked outside and stubbed her toe and her toe fell off again. You know,
That's right.
These things aren't exactly a dime a dozen. Like, damn it, I broke my toe again. Can you build me another one? You know, what kind of wood do you think they used back then? I'm not familiar with the topography, as it were, of Egypt, and perhaps how it's changed over the last 3,000 years, just given the environment and all the changes therein?
Yeah, I really don't know. That's a great question. What the wood was that was used. I don't know the answer to that question. But it's interesting because the researchers that were studying this big toe were basically using some really sophisticated techniques to analyze it. They're using, microscopy to get information about the fine structure. They're taking X-rays of it. They were creating these three-dimensional images with computer tomography to analyze it. And it was through that process they were able to discover that this toe was actually worked and reworked. But I don't know if this was a special type of wood or if it was just wood that would have been commonly available. I mean, given that this belonged to the daughter of a priestess, you might imagine that part of the prosthetic device would have been actually something that would have been extremely high quality, befitting somebody who would have been that important in society. Or they may have chosen the wood so that it would have the most natural cosmetic appearance.
Right.
So that's a really interesting question.
Well, I'm looking at the picture again, and if you're just joining us, we're talking to Dr. Fazale Rana. You can connect with him on Twitter at RTB_FRANA. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about how it would match the melanin of the individual that we're talking about, the priest's daughter, a 3,000-year-old prosthetic toe. It kind of resembles a dark mahogany. So one has to wonder if they were going for a matched look because, as we know, I mean, women like to be pretty. And I'm sure the daughter of this priest would want this toe to match the rest of her skin color.
Yeah, that's probably true, because if you had a prosthetic device like that, you probably would feel very uncomfortable, and very self-conscious. It's interesting, Joey. A number of years ago, my wife and I adopted 2 kids from Mexico. They were brother and sister. So we have 5 kids, 3 biological, 2 adopted. But the little girl that we adopted went through just a horrendous experience as a little child, and as a result of that, suffered some severe burns on one of her arms, on her left arm, and as a result of that, actually lost a couple of fingers. And when we brought her back to the United States, we were able to go to Shriners and work with the doctors there who were world-class physicians. And one of the doctors was a pioneer in toe-to-hand transplants. So they actually took a couple of her toes and they transplanted them into her hand to create fingers that she could, nerves and everything going, with the transplant, so that she actually had a functional hand as a result of that. But our daughter has always been self-conscious of the fact that on one of her feet she has 4 toes instead of 5 toes. And so I can imagine that this woman would have been pretty self-conscious about having not having a big toe and having this prosthetic device.
Right. And when you guys head to SoundCloud and up in the search bar, Wenz World, you can see a picture of this prosthetic. And it does have the 4 other toes. And I don't think they look as well kept as the big toe. It's literally night and day about how well preserved this toe is compared to the other 4. Man, this is great stuff. I'll tell you what, I'm never disappointed with what our good friend Anastasia sends us as far as press releases on topics to discover and unravel and pick apart, because this one is just mind-blowing to me. I've always been a fan of ancient Egyptian culture, and they seem to be so far ahead of their time in every single facet of society. I mean, mathematics, architecture, you name it, medicine, science, everything. They seem to be so far ahead of their time, and this is just another example of that.
Yeah. There's when it comes to science, there's things that are so weird. Fact is much stranger than fiction. That's what's so fun about being a scientist, is there's never an end to fascinating things and bizarre things that you get to learn about.
Oh, man. Dr. Fuzz, always great to talk to you. Again, folks, connect with the good people at Reasons. Reasons.org is their websites. It's where faith and science converge. See, I've found in my own life, and others have as well, that science and faith aren't mutually exclusive. They work together in a dynamic and miraculous way, and that's the way that I believe the Creator intended it to work out. Dr. Fuzz, I really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Joey. God bless you.
What's going on, KLRN Radio family? This is your friendly host, the Wenz, a.k.a. Joey Wenzler, a.k.a. at Wenz World Radio on Twitter. Follow me and I'll follow you back. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wenz World, man. We love bringing it to you every single Tuesday right here on KLRN. But you know, I also come on the air in Atlanta, Georgia every Saturday at 4 p.m. on a terrestrial signal, 920 The Answer. AM 920 The Answer in Atlanta, Saturdays at 4 o'clock. You know, this is a portion of Wenz World that I don't air in Atlanta because it's a little too personal, you know, and I like to keep things more entertaining. But for the sake of KLRN, I feel like more open here. I feel like I can unleash the Wenz, the inner Wenz. So in the last few minutes of the show, I figure, why not? Play a little yoga music in the background, let loose. Spill the beans on what's going on in my world with you. And, you know, if you feel like shooting some feedback, feel free to. Again, on Twitter. So this last week, what's been going on? Man, it just seems like the summer is disappearing. Thankfully, though, because my car doesn't have AC, so it's getting a little cooler out. I know it's only early August, and I'm probably speaking too soon, but it's been like mid-80s, down from 90. Which is a strong improvement when you're rolling at the grace of the warm wind that swirls through your car on I-75 back to the northern suburbs from Atlanta. And I'm still excited about football season, man. This is the last week. I think this last Sunday was the last Sunday without football for the foreseeable future. I know it's preseason. Some say it doesn't count. But, man, once I see football, you know you're only 4 weeks out from the real deal. NFL Week 1. Man, this is going to be great. I can't wait to see some NFL football. And of course, in the South, college football reigns supreme. It's like a religion. Every Saturday, you see people's little car flags. You got Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Georgia Tech, and not to mention 100 other schools locally and nationally that are represented well here in the South. I just never got into college football. I've never really understood the passion for it. I guess from an outside look, looking at it objectively, the players aren't played, or the players aren't paid, either way you put it. So that kind of lends some sort of credence to the credibility factor of college sports. They get paid in other ways, like free cars, clothes, girls, you know, jewelry. Mama got a brand new house as soon as you signed the NFL contract. So it is kind of like the D League that the NBA has. That's like, you know, college football. Gosh, listen to that. That just makes me want to sleep. Probably not a good idea because I got to drive here soon. But yeah, with football comes fall. And with fall comes the smell of burning leaves. I love the smell of burning leaves. Driving home with my windows down in the fall is just nothing short of amazing. Well, that's it for now. Next week, same time, same place. Feel free to shoot me an email, too. If you have any topic ideas or some guests for the show that you want their voice to be heard on air here on KLRN, wenzworldradio@gmail.com. Till next week, take care and God bless you.
Hey, KLRN Radio family, this is Ginny Ehrhart. Check out the Southern Sisters Radio Show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with us at our website, southernsistershome.com, and on Facebook at Southern Sisters with Ginny Ehrhart. And don't forget to check out our Facebook Live videos. That's right, unedited and uncensored every week.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.